Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode with I Track. Shout out to all the I Track fan, man, and all the new subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you for tapping in. If this is your first time here, what we like to do is take a look at the most interesting and creepy TikToks and kind of evaluate for ourselves whether these are fact or fake. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button, and without any further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it.
Oh my god. I cannot believe I'm getting this on video. I ain't about to release it though. I'm not trying to have somebody follow me. Bro, what in the hell? What the fuck?
Yeah, that clearly looked like three moons side by side. I don't know what exactly could explain that, but that is pretty creepy. If you know something I don't, you know what to do. Leave it in the comments.
Nope, this is not fake, as Bill Gates is warning the entire US that it will reach its end in a few years, and we need to get out if we want to survive. Many were horrified after a TikToker named Peggy discovered something surreal that the billionaires are doing, as they have confirmed that the end of the US is here, and in just a short few years, the entire US will go under, and they have already quietly planned their escape. In 2017, an eerie doomsday map was announced by Forbes as what the US could look like in just a few more years. But as this was supposed to just be a theory, it has now turned into a haunting forewarning. Apparently, Bill Gates has been purchasing farmland all over the US over the last few years, and where he has been buying lines up perfectly with the doomsday map. And allegedly, a lot of his properties just so happen to be in safe zones. Allegedly, his property in Arizona would be in direct line to be a beachfront home when the flood hits, with almost 90% of California to be underwater, but Bill buys the land that turns into an island, as well as beachfront homes in Nebraska and Wyoming, just to name a few. So what do the billionaires know that we don't? Of course, this is just for entertainment and could all be a coincidence.
I mean, for America's sake, let's hope this is all entertainment, but you always want to err on the side of caution when it comes to things like that.
Met someone that got abducted?
Nah. You did?
Yeah. I talked to two people on this podcast that got abducted.
What?
One dude, he was like, I got back from a wedding, wasn't drinking, I was with my girl, I'm in Miami, I look out the window, I see this like ball of energy, it starts coming towards the window. As I'm looking at it, all of a sudden two beings outside the window, and then they come inside the window, and he calls them gray beings. It looked like a traditional alien. And he looks at them, as he's trying to run away, he looks at his wife, she starts to scream, both of them knock out. He wakes up in bed, middle of the night, 6 hours later, different clothes that he had, and he's just like, what the hell? And he has memories of being on the craft, and they're like probing him, doing shit to him on the craft. He says that his girl saw it. He was like, she was with me, she saw the whole thing.
They grabbed her?
She didn't even get grabbed. She just saw it happen.
Is she still with him today?
They ended up divorcing.
Wow.
She said it was just too much strain. She didn't want to be involved with it. And now he has an entire group dedicated for people that have experienced it.
I would love to see that.
It's crazy.
Just after when Heath Ledger died, he played the Joker in Batman. He died on January the 22nd, which is interesting because the number 22 is in sync with the Joker card in the tarot card deck.
You're suggesting that basically the Batman movies has got some kind of ritual magic involved?
Absolutely, yes.
Why was he murdered? What did he...
His real father wasn't the father that is shown to the public. His real father was a very famous actor. He did a lot of theatre in the 50s and 60s, I forget his name.
Why is it necessary to have a different father than your real
Well,
one?
they often will take...
In the public domain?
Because they don't want any association, and they like to try experiments. A lot of it is lab rat stuff to test out.
This is the darkest secret in the music industry.
These are basically insurance policies. He dies, whatever was owned by the company reverts back. We're not talking about $1 million, we're talking about billions of dollars.
It's a record company's goal to squeeze every penny of profit they can possibly get out of their artists. Hidden deep within the fine print of a recording artist's contract is something known as the death clause. The death clause is a life insurance policy that a record company will take out against their artists so they can make a profit off of that artist in the event of their untimely death. And it also ensures that the royalties that the artist was entitled to while they were alive revert back to the record company if that artist had finally reached a position where they could collect their royalties. Depending on where an artist is in their career, for instance, if they're in the middle of a massive fall off, there comes a time when they are more valuable to the record company dead than they are alive. The death clause raises a lot of questions when you look at all the mysterious deaths of recording artists. Check this out.
It's called the death clause, or the non-performance clause. Now, this is one of those lesser-known details in regards to record contracts. Companies shall have the right to secure insurance equivalent to 10 times the estimated value of the artist's earnings from any source of revenue for company's sole benefit. Companies shall be allowed to employ any insurance carrier or combination of the same to assure this benefit and need not consult or require signature compliance from the artist. Companies shall keep such information confidential, except that the company may disclose information to the applicable insurance carriers or as required by law. Artist or artist's estate shall have no right to review or claim the benefit of any such policy obtained by the company. If an artist fails to perform or pay back advances, the artist becomes more profitable dead, and whereas it used to be worth thousands, it's now potentially worth billions. Record deals are structured like a loan, also known as an advance. Only after the label is paid back in full will the artist receive any royalties on the music recorded during that time. And assuming all goes well with the contract, the process will repeat with a new contract and new debt. If they don't succeed though, or paying back the label is taking too long, or the artist is trying to get out of the deal, then the death clause conveniently helps the label collect. It was noted that a popular musician's life expectancy was up to 25 years shorter comparable to the general population. These numbers make it clear as day that the true price of fame in the music industry is up to 25 years off your life. Music is one of the few industries on the planet where someone's work is worth significantly more to a company after their passing. A premature death can take an artist from a good artist to a legend, which can in some cases solidify an artist's recording catalog to be a cash cow for decades to come. When an artist signs his name on the dotted line to a record company, the record company will in many cases own all of the masters for the songs recorded under that contract. And when an artist signs to a major label, it's safe to say that their death is in many ways factored into the initial investment. After an artist has peaked in popularity, there becomes an awkward point in their career where the artist is worth more to them dead than alive.
I'm sure if any of the artists knew even just a little bit of that information, they would think twice or three times about even wanting to sign with any label. So that's just mind-blowing right there.
This man was walking back from fishing when he captured this on video.
Yo, what the? What the? Bro. There's nobody in here. Yo!
Now, I know for a fact he had to have been shook. I mean, you walk in there after hearing something like that, you're expecting to see a murder scene damn near.
Mark, are the allegations true that you are secretly a lizard? I'm gonna have to go with no on that. I am not a lizard.
This reality, this world we call human, is manipulated from the unseen. These are the pantheons of gods, like the Greek gods and all these other gods that people worship but can't see. You find this theme of a non-human force with negative intent on humanity that is manipulating our world from the unseen. So if you look at Christianity, they have the devil and Satan. That's their name for this force collectively. And they talk about demons. Then you look at Islam. Now, Islam, of course, is completely different from Christianity. Of course, it is, so people think. But actually, there are big areas of agreement. And one of them is the jinn. And the jinn are considered to be a force in the hidden that manipulate human society. And their collective name for the ruler of the jinn, Christian, Satan. Islam, Shaitan, or Iblis. Then I talked to the great Zulu shaman Credo Mutwa in South Africa, spent days and days talking to him, who describes their legends and accounts of a non-human force manipulating human society, which they say took a reptilian form. The ancients were doing sacrificial rituals to these gods, right? And they were sacrificing, particularly children. What they did was they, in those days, because it was acceptable, God knows why, they did it openly, right? And it was a sacrifice to the gods. And I'll come to this in a second, but my question was, so what do the frickin' gods get out of it then? Well, I now understand. I take you back to the first Matrix movie, and the Morpheus character holds up a battery, and he says, the Matrix is a computer-generated dream world designed to turn humans into one of these, a battery. These entities are feeding off human energy, but it's a particular type of human energy. So these are the energies I'm talking about. So these entities, by their very nature, are very low vibrational in nature, because anyone that wants to impose their will and manipulate and cause suffering and war and death and destruction is in a very low vibrational state. And if they're going to feed off human energy, they can only feed off it if we are delivering it within the band of frequency they can absorb.
Yeah, he broke that down quite clear, enough for anybody even with the slightest amount of common sense to understand.
Why do 80% of all Americans live east of this line, while only 20% occupy the western part of the United States? Even more, the majority in the West live in California, Oregon, and Washington within this line, accounting for 11% of all those living in the West. Thus, only 9% of Americans live in half of the mainland of the US, which is equivalent to the population of New York City alone. Why is that? The main reason for this is geography, especially the Rocky Mountains that stretch across the entire country and act as a natural barrier to the rains coming from the Pacific Ocean. They are so high that they prevent the clouds from passing into the center of the country, and this effect is called rain shadow. At the same time, precipitation from the east can easily penetrate into the depths of the country, but due to winds from the Gulf of Mexico, cannot cross this line as it changes its direction. Because of the lack of precipitation, it creates an area of dry land that is not suitable for agricultural production, and this is reflected in the population density.
You can see it stops, and it's under some sort of control. But let's go back to the beginning. This is shot from a DJI Mavic 3 drone at 3:58 p.m. local time in Pottersville, California, on December 17th, 2023. It was uploaded 3 hours ago to YouTube on December 18th. So therefore, we know that this isn't CGI because this weather matches Pottersville, California. And this would have certainly taken more than 24 hours to create, which is not even 24 hours yet. But anyway, not a balloon, not any craft I've ever seen or known that has any sort of capability. I doubt the military would be flying something so secretive over a area like this where it could be seen by other people. It's out in the open, so Chinese, perhaps, but watch when he zooms in on this thing. And it's even seems like it's trying to evade the camera.
Now that definitely looked like one of those balloons that they shot down that was collecting all kind of information.
Continuing series Moms in Focus, CBS's Jan Crawford finds necessity is truly the mother of invention.
That's crazy.
Look at the snow stuck up on the bottom of it. It's hard to beat the library.
Right?
Especially when you have to keep your eye on the
That
one.
I've never seen before.
Here I can just get there.
I just saw it earlier.
Yes, the chemotherapy did kill the cancer. Yes, the chemotherapy did shrink the tumor, but the chemotherapy is 100% mustard gas. Mustard gas is literally 100% acidic. So not only did it kill the cancerous cells, but it killed every good cell in the body too. So chemotherapy naturally causes cancer. So you will go into remission for 5 to 10 years, but then when the cancer come back, now all of a sudden it metastasized to the bone and throughout the whole body. What did that? Was it the cancer? The cancer is a natural effect on the body trying to heal itself. Cancer is a detoxification symptom. Cancer is not a disease. You see that? But chemotherapy causes a mutation of cancer, which becomes a disease, and then you die from that chemotherapy because it robs the cells of oxygen, it suffocates the cells, and it penetrates all the way down to the actual molecular structure of the bone. So you see most people that go into remission come back with an even worse cancer 5 to 10 years later. So they're suppressing symptoms. We are promoting symptoms to detoxify. It's a total difference.
So what was your strategy at Universal?
Well, the strategy was to fill it with urban music. I don't think a record company can really be successful without urban music, the roots of our music. And we had Death Row. I bought Def Jam. We acquired Cash Money. And just with those 3 companies, we probably had 40-45% of all the urban music in America. And then all the cool kids wanted to come with us. So it was really fun.
He said 40 to 45%. That's a huge market share right there. I'll never look at bananas the same again. Let me know what you think about that experiment in the comments.
Do you know that a Japanese construction company is making a space lift that will be ready by 2050? Scientists say that the space lift will be 100,000 kilometers high in space. The company says that it will take 7 days to reach space from the lift. If you get a chance to go to the space lift, will you go or not? Comment below and let us know. If you are interested in science, then do follow Mystifying Minds.
I'm not too sure that's something I'd be interested in. I mean, I kind of like it on Earth, and that structure didn't look all that sturdy to me. But if you'd be down for a trip like that, let me know.
Flash across your screen a couple of times. It's puzzling neighbors in Cape Coral, but this is actually the cause. It's a plane flying low over people's homes, scanning the ground with that green laser. Welcome back. I'm Chris Safadi.
And I'm Lois Tomey. So what does this plane, what is it doing? Awake News anchor Annette Montgomery joins us in the studio. And Annette, what did you learn?
Well, Chris and Lois, I learned who it's not after reaching out to everyone from the city of Cape Coral to the county, to the Florida Division of Emergency Management, to the South Florida Water District and Port Authority. Now, these low-flying planes with green lasers does not belong to them. One neighbor got so fed up, she purchased a flight radar to help narrow down the search for the owner. It's not something you see every day.
Oh, geez, it was, it went back and forth. At least, I would say 40 minutes to an hour.
But for people living in Cape Coral, they've been seeing it a lot this week.
It was really late at night. It was kind of around midnight. It was around midnight. And I was actually in my car. I was just getting home, and I saw it going back and forth with a laser beam, and it scanned over me multiple times, and it was just moving. It was scanning the whole area, every square footage, basically, going just forth.
That low-flying plane was in Casey Sutton's neighborhood for hours Sunday night. Philip Bertolio saw it the same day, but a few hours earlier while watching the Super Bowl game.
When it came by, you could see the green laser light like spread out, like it was mapping. We heard something about it was mapping the area is what we were told. And it kept going in a north and south direction, and it would just go farther to the west. It kept going north and south and come.
It's the first time these neighbors saw a sight like this while looking up at the night sky. So Casey decided to track down who the plane and its lasers belonged to.
I've never had flight radar until this happened, because I'm like, what the heck is going on? But it shows that what kind of plane it was and what type of plane. I don't know who owns it. It just says private owner.
When you put the information Casey provided into the FAA website, it comes back with this information saying it's registered to Randigo LLC. But it's unclear who or what they're doing.
We just want to know what's going on. Why we're being scanned.
I also reached out to the U.S. Geological Survey as they are doing some mapping and data collection involving low-flying planes right now. But they told me not only do their planes fly during the day, they also don't use green lasers. I'm still waiting to hear back from the NOAA. I did speak with a representative over the phone, but she was unable to confirm or deny if these planes belong to them.
What the is that, dude?
Lasers shining down from planes in the air recently. We have some news tonight and answers. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers say that it's part of a flight to collect some mapping data. They say it won't hurt your eyes. Work was done at night due to daytime airspace restrictions. Remaining flights on Oahu will be done during the day through at least next week. Then the flights will move to the neighbor islands for daytime work.
Japanese and local astronomers say a Chinese satellite was recently seen beaming down green lasers over the islands. This video captured atop the Subaru telescope on Mauna Kea, operated by the National Astronomical Observatory of Japan. Bryce Moore has the story.
The lasers flash for just a couple seconds. Initially thought to be from a NASA altimeter satellite, the Japanese put out a correction note on Monday saying NASA scientists found a most likely candidate as the ACDL instrument by the Chinese Daki-1 AEMS satellite. I went to a University of Hawaii astronomer who read up on AEMS instruments.
It's a Chinese satellite that is measuring pollutants, among other things. It has many different instruments on it, some kind of topographical mapping, or they're also used for measuring stuff in the Earth's atmosphere, and I think that's what it is. It's an environmental measurement satellite.
I also sat down with the former Chief of Staff of Marine Forces Pacific. He had some questions.
I'm not sure, this is my opinion, why the Chinese, who are probably some of the most prolific polluters on the planet, would be collecting data on pollutants on this side of the Pacific.
Both experts say this isn't explicitly a spy satellite. It is cataloged and known by governments around the world.
The U.S. has satellites that do the same thing. So in this case, despite all of the flurry, well-deserved flurry about Chinese spy satellites and other devices, this one is just orbiting Earth and has a known orbit.
The footage was taken January 28th, before the recent incident where a Chinese balloon traversed over the mainland U.S. before being shot down off the coast of South Carolina. Which brings the question, how much is the Chinese military seeing?
They can shut down any communication nodes that they want if they believe that, I think, the public is getting too much information. So, yeah, I think it's more probably military than anything else. That's makes sense.
I had to ask,
is this a risk to locals, to Hawaii?
No, it's not a risk to Hawaii or any place else. We have aircraft making these kind of measurements all the time. If you've seen topographical maps with high precision, those are made using sometimes this kind of thing.
It seems to me that those tensions are there. People are a little antsy, and I think we just need to be a little bit more aware, vigilant.
If you happen to see green lasers in the sky, not to worry. It's the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers conducting coastal surveys. And they're being done using a contracted aircraft equipped with a light detection and ranging system. The lasers are used to measure distance. Residents near Oahu South facing shores between Barbers Point and Diamond Head might see those broad beams of green light across the night sky. It'll happen between midnight and 5 a.m. from Friday, April the 28th through the 30th. Officials say brief exposure to the light is not harmful to the unprotected eye.
I haven't seen anything like that where I'm at, but nonetheless, I bet it's pretty creepy to see something like that hover over a neighborhood, just scanning with the green light like that. It's pretty creepy. If you've seen it, let me know what it was like. Well, you guys, hey, that's another one in the books. I appreciate you guys for stopping by like you always do and watching another one with me. If you haven't already, go ahead and smash that like button. Smash that subscribe button, and I will definitely catch you on the next one.